The pub is usually quiet, but today a large, mismatched crew is gathering. Daniel Nate is polishing glasses behind the bar, looking utterly exhausted. Toad stands on a bar stool, brandishing a laminated map of West London. Toad, boasting, booming, gentlemen, and lady folk, we stand upon the precipice of a financial revolution. Forget Bitcoin, forget NFTs, forget the questionable investment in those self-stirring teacups. Dick Spanner PI, tapping his metallic foot, get to the point. Toad, my circuits are overheating just anticipating the nonsense. Toad, the future, my dear Dick, lies in efficiency. And where do we find the most dedicated, quietly industrious workforce in the whole of the United Kingdom? Constance, fluttering her eyelashes. Ooh, is it those cute fluffy ones that sing about recycling? I've seen them on a vintage educational video. Toad, precisely. Constance, the Wombles of Wimbledon Common. Untapped resources. Imagine, unpaid, highly skilled cleaners who enjoy sorting rubbish. Toad Hall is currently costing me a fortune in polish for the lower flagstones alone. Daniel Nate, muttering to himself while wiping a beer stain. You know those are fictional, right? Or at least, they were created to promote environmentalism to children in the 70s. Toad, nonsense. In Rye, everything manufactured is real. We have a sentient robot detective, and a fully functioning teddy bear superhero. Why wouldn't we have industrious subterranean mammals? Super Ted, landing softly beside Bill. Toad, while the Wombles are admirable environmentalists, they work for their community, not for corporate gain. Toad, community? That's just a euphemism for low motivation. I shall offer them a motivational luncheon of discarded caviar and slightly used biscuits. I shall formalize their operation. They will be Womble Corp. Dawdle, tapping a hoof emphatically. Toad, I think you should consult Great Uncle Bulgaria first. He's the sensible one. Don't just barge in. Toad, bosh. Planning is for second-raters. We strike now. Constance, pouting. If they are going to be cleaners, they need a mascot. I need a Womble. A small, fluffy, one to carry in my purse. Imagine, a tiny, organic piece of London couture. I shall name him Truffles. Spuds Mackenzie, poking Joe Camel violently in the ribs. Wait. Hold your horses, governor. Are we talking about a new kind of game, like wild game? Joe Camel, adjusting his sunglasses, exhaling a plume of smoke. Spuds, I like the sound of this. New species, in it, could be tasty, like a fat pigeon, but hopefully less diseased. Spuds Mackenzie, smirking, voice raspy, exotic. I reckon we could start a new culinary trend, Womble Wellington, or perhaps Womble Surprise. Get Sam to fry him up, he's good with fire. Sam Payton, firmly, I'm a firefighter. Spuds, I put fires out, and I don't cook small, potentially endangered species. That's a terrible idea. Anyway, Spuds Mackenzie, oh, come on, Sam, a bit of adventure. Get your hands dirty. Bill Clutterbuck, adjusting his nautical cap. This is shaping up to be a maritime disaster on dry land. We're heading to an area with thousands of unsuspecting folk. To capture mythical creatures, hire them for below minimum wage, and then possibly eat them. Carmel Bunny, sultry, West Country accent. Well, I'm not eating anything that smells faintly of landfill, but I wouldn't mind watching the show. Corky, head corkscrew slightly wobbling. I like cleaning. I can help. Toad, strong hands. Nat, pumping a fist. Yeah, I'll come along for the ruckus. If anyone tries to stop us from finding these little fluffy geezers, they'll get a good old rock and roll thrashing. Oh, rock and roll. Toad, excellent. Corky, you're my muscle. Nat, you're my morale officer. Constance, bring a cage. Spuds and Joe, for heaven's sake, don't bring anything that looks like a snare. Spuds Mackenzie, whispering loudly to Joe, he said don't bring a snare. Joe, so we bring 2 snares. Excellent reverse psychology. Daniel Nate, flicking a damp cloth. I need a lie down. I'm going to make a large pot of tea for when you all come back covered in urban detritus. Pat Clifton, I suppose I should go, just in case someone needs delivering from a tight spot. And I'll bring Jess. She's surprisingly good at sniffing out trouble. Barney, lurching up, tail wagging rapidly, standing on 2 legs. Trouble, fame, Am I invited? I could be the face of Wombles Incorporated. I shall be the brand ambassador. Toad. Right. To the transport. Godfrey awaits. The group is crammed into and around a repurposed utility cart, poorly balanced and pulled by a deeply aggravated Godfrey. Dick Spanner drives the cart. Everyone else is piled haphazardly. Godfrey, straining, Yorkshire accent grating. Oh, just another grand day out. Pulling the weight of a small terraced house and 4 egos across the landscape. Why I didn't stick to pulling a milk float, I'll never know. At least milk floats don't ask if you've seen their car keys. Svrandkaz, strapped precariously to the back, wearing camouflage face paint. This wagon is inefficient. Where is the thrill of the chase? The smell of the peat? The glorious struggle against the beast? Spuds Mackenzie. Patience. Big fella. We're hunting wombles, not woolly mammoths. Though, God, I bet a mammoth steak would be nice. Trip. Attempting to film a shaky vlog on his phone. Yo, what's up, followers? Trip on the road, heading to the common for some serious urban exploration. Might catch some fresh wildlife content. See the big green guy. Total beast mode. Like and subscribe. Cavi, sitting elegantly on a sack of what looks like discarded tires. Completely unperturbed. Trip. Please try to limit the lens flare. It ruins the aesthetic. Constance. Clutching a small, heart-shaped, rhinestone cage. I hope Truffles likes pink. I brought him a little collar, too. Dawdle. Constance. Wombles are wild animals, or at least they are highly secretive. You can't just put a collar on them. They are supposed to be free to womble. Constance. But if he's going to be my pet, he needs to match my shoes. If I can ever find my shoes. Dick Spanner PI, muttering into a small wrist communicator. The client is currently en route to a potential incident zone involving environmental criminals and a delusional amphibian. Pray for the wombles. Over. Bill Clutterbuck, shaking his head. I've seen storms that were less predictable than this lot. Sam. Pat. We stick together. We're the cleanup crew. Remember? Sam Payton. Bill. Keep the postman safe and the bear out of trouble. Seems a reasonable day's work for a fireman. Toad, waving the map dramatically. We are here. Wimbledon Common. Look at this expanse of untapped labor. Get ready. Womble Corp is about to launch. Dick Spanner slams on the brakes. Godfrey lets out a pained whinny. Godfrey. Bloody hell. Dick. Give a horse a warning. Will ya? I've got whiplash in me fetlocks. Dick Spanner PI. We have arrived at the approximate location marked potential Womble hotspot. Proceed with caution. Or, in Toad's case, proceed with maximum recklessness. The group spills out onto the common. A vast, slightly muddy green space, scattered with dog walkers and oblivious joggers. They are immediately conspicuous. Toad points dramatically towards a large mound covered in foliage and old traffic cones. Toad, whispering with unnecessary volume. The burrow. We must utilize strategic infiltration. Corky. Nat. You're with me. We go in. We make the pitch. Corky. Pitch. I like pitch. Is it sticky? Nat. Adjusting his pink leather pants. Pulling out a small, rusty chain. Right. If these fluff balls don't listen to reason, they'll listen to Nat. Let's punk em up. Constance. Grabbing Cathy and Dawdle. We need to be subtle. Truffles will be attracted to sparkle. We shall set a trap using glitter, small sandwiches, and a silk scarf as bait. Cathy, sighing beautifully. If I get glitter on my bare feet, I'm invoicing you. Constance. Dawdle. I really think baiting them might be an issue. Wombles are very particular about what they take. Constance. Nonsense. Everyone loves tiny sandwiches. Spuds Mackenzie. Hunching low. Trench coat flapping. Right. Joe. Svrandkaz. Trip. We stick to the perimeter. Find a scent. Track it. Bag it. Butcher it. Simple. Joe Camel. Lighting a cigarette. Squinting into the distance. Spuds. We'll be in and out like a flash. Get that exotic meat. Svrandkaz. Eyes wide with feral excitement. Butcher? Yes. I bring my ceremonial bone knife. We carve the little beasts. This is true nature. Trip. Filming the ground. Gonna need a macro lens for this hunt. Man. These things are tiny. Anyone got a tiny knife? Pat Clifton. To Bill and Sam. Holding Jess's lead. Well, that's 3 groups with 3 incompatible, terrible plans. Who takes bets on who gets arrested first? Bill Clutterbuck, looking at Toad, who is currently trying to shove Corky into a hedge. I'll put my money on the amphibian industrialist. Super Ted, I shall fly reconnaissance. I need to ensure no environmental laws are broken. The groups scatter. Daniel Nate finds a nearby park bench, sinks onto it, and pulls his hood up. Daniel Nate, I hate my coma. I really hate my coma. Toad, Corky, and Nat approach the main entrance to the Womble burrow, a carefully disguised hole surrounded by repurposed debris. Nat attempts to kick over a perfectly arranged pile of old bottle caps. Toad, Nat, desist. This is a workplace. We must show respect for their organizational structure. Now stand back and watch the master negotiator at work. Toad clears his throat and dramatically taps on a piece of slate over the entrance. Toad, hello, Wombles of Wimbledon. Mr. Toad is here. I bring opportunity. Silence. A small, nervous-looking Womble, Orinoco, peeks out, clutching a tennis ball. Orinoco, hello, are you, Litter? You seem quite bulky. Toad, Litter, I am J. Thaddeus Toad. I am offering a non-compete, 0-hour contract, with optional uniform and the promise of a potentially self-filling teacup. Orinoco, we don't need teacups. We have buckets. And we don't need contracts. We Womble. Nat, leaning in, menacingly. Oi, listen up, ye fluffy little tea cozy. The boss is offering ye a job. You'll be scrubbing floors and sorting out rubbish. Get out here and sign on the dotted line, or me and me big mate Corky here will give ye a proper talking to. Corky, smiling broadly, oblivious. I can scrub. I am strong. Orinoco, eyes widening, retreating slightly. Scrubbing? We only sort things that can be reused. And you smell of loud noises. I must get Great Uncle Bulgaria. Toad, wait. Don't go. I have projected revenue graphs. Look at the Q4 earnings. They are mostly based on my assumption you'll work for free. But still, Orinoco disappears completely. A moment later, Great Uncle Bulgaria emerges, looking stern and wearing his signature spectacles. Great Uncle Bulgaria, good heavens. A toad, a punk, and a man with a corkscrew head. This is quite an unsightly collection of refuse. Toad, the management. Excellent. We can talk salary. How does a single penny per metric ton of reusable material sound? Plus, you get to work in my magnificent hall. Think of the ancient dust. Great Uncle Bulgaria, Mr. Toad, we clean the common. It is our home. We don't take wages. We take care. And your idea of ancient dust is merely unloved history. We are not for hire. Now, I suggest you take your rather aggressive associates and leave. You are making a terrible mess of my meticulously organized entranceway. Nat, mess? This ain't messy. I'll show you messy. Nat grabs a nearby discarded plastic bottle and throws it into the nearby bushes. Bulgaria gasps. Great Uncle Bulgaria, you threw it. You didn't even separate the lid. This is barbaric. Wombles, prepare the countermeasures. A low rumbling sound is heard from within the burrow. Toad, nervous. Countermeasures? Is that corporate jargon for a bonus scheme? Constance, Kathy, and Dawdle move through a less populated area, near a cluster of old bicycle wheels and brambles. Constance is delicately placing a tiny, sparkly cage. Constance, now, the sandwiches go here, near the glitter. Truffles is bound to be a foodie. Dawdle, exasperated. Constance, Wombles eat what they find. They are functional. They are not going to fall for an artisanal cheese sandwich. Constance, but this is brie. And look, I've tied a pink ribbon to this old tea bag. It's a gift. Kathy, leaning against a tree, examining her nails. You know, if you wanted a pet, you should have just gotten a chihuahua. They are far more compliant, and they don't smell of moss. Constance, but chihuahuas don't have that cute, sustainable ethos. Truffles is going to be my ethical fashion statement. Look, Dawdle, I see one. Constance points wildly. A very large, slightly frazzled Womble, Madame Cholet, emerges, her apron covered in flour dust. Madame Cholet, oh, goodness, look at all this glitter, and tiny sandwiches. What a dreadful waste of perfectly good resources. Constance, cooing loudly, come here, little truffles. You are so fluffy. Mama wants a cuddle. Constance lunges forward clumsily, Cholet shrieks and dives behind an old boot. Madam Cholet, keep that sparkly menace away from my kitchen supplies. Dawdle. Constance, you scared her. Constance, she's playing hard to get. I know how to handle this. Cavi, distract her with your effortless glamour. Cavi, I was not paid for distraction services. She sighs, but strikes a deliberately distracting pose, one hand on her hip. Constance, trying to scoop Madam Cholet with her empty cage. Now, little truffles, into the pink house. Madam Cholet, voice muffled from behind the boot. I am Madam Cholet. I am in charge of the laundry. I am not a truffle, and I certainly will not fit in that monstrosity. Constance trips over a root, sending the rhinestone cage flying. It hits a nearby patch of wet ground. Cholet uses the momentary confusion to activate a secondary Womble defense mechanism, a well-hidden pressure release pipe. Dawdle. Oh, I think that was a drainage ditch release valve. A sudden, powerful jet of muddy, brackish water erupts from the ground, soaking Constance completely. Her hair goes limp, her clothes cling, and all the glitter washes away into the dirt. Constance, wailing, my hair, and my organic cotton top. Cavi, stepping casually out of the spray path. At least now the glitter is truly composted. Spuds, Joe, Sfrandkaz, and Trip are deep in the bushes, stalking. Spuds holds a rusty garden trowel. Joe wields a bent poker. Spuds Mackenzie. Right, Joe, listen up. We're hunting the invisible man of meat. Sneaky, in it. Joe Camel. But I'm smelling something. Smells damp and faintly of cheap cologne. Sfrandkaz, sniffing the air dramatically. Yes, the musk of the small hairy beast. It is a creature of cunning. Trip, whispering loudly to the camera. We're deep undercover, guys. The heat is heavy. Waiting for that Womble drop. Keep it stealthy. Hashtag hunting life. They crawl forward. Joe spots something white, fluffy, and large near a discarded children's picnic basket. Joe Camel, hold up. Spuds, look at that one. He's huge. A big one. Plenty of meat on that lad. Spuds Mackenzie, jackpot. He must be the alpha Womble. We'll be feasting tonight. Get him. Sfrandkaz. Sfrandkaz, roaring with savage excitement, leaping out from the bushes. For Ryan for dinner. Prepare to be tenderized. Fluffy creature. Sfrandkaz dives upon the target. Instead of a Womble, he has crashed onto a large, extremely territorial and very angry urban fox which had been sleeping in the sun. Sfrandkaz, struggling with the creature. Wait, this beast does not taste like berry cake. It is sharp, and smells of street grease and disappointment. Joe Camel, holy hell. Sfrandkaz, that's a fox. Get off it. It's got sharp bits. The fox, enraged, bites Sfrandkaz's gummy arm, then darts away, knocking over a concealed bin. Spuds Mackenzie, looking at the bin. Oh no, that's not a recycling bin, is it? Joe Camel, no, mate. Looks like the local dog walkers collective refuse point. The bin, clearly marked dog waste only, tips completely over, showering Spuds and Joe in foul-smelling, dark brown biohazard material. Spuds Mackenzie, loud, high-pitched scream of pure disgust. Arg, it's on my coat. It's in my hair. I'm ruined. I'm absolutely ruined. Joe Camel, coughing, trying to wipe his sunglasses clean. I can't see. I can't breathe. This is worse than a 2-pack a day habit. Trip, zooming in enthusiastically. Oh my god. Raw footage. Pure filth. This is going viral. Hashtag dog poo surprise. Sfrandkaz, holding his bitten arm, looking confused. The beast has covered me in fertilizer. Is this a ritual of the hunt? Bill Clutterbuck, Sam Payton, and Pat Clifton, having been observing the escalating chaos from a distance, decide it's time to intervene just as Super Ted descends. They approach the Womble burrow where Toad's group is now in full retreat, slipping on a path that the Wombles have deliberately dampened. Toad, sliding backwards, clutching his map. They are militant, absolutely anti-business, and they have specialized irrigation systems. Who needs a high-pressure hose underground? Nat, they're cowards. Get back here and let me tell ya what I think of ya little trash empire. Great Uncle Bulgaria fires a carefully aimed tennis ball, hitting Nat squarely on the nose. Nat, ow, that's assault. Bill Clutterbuck, right, that's enough. Toad, We're heading home. Suddenly, Constance, dripping and shivering, runs past, chased by a very annoyed Madame Cholet who is wielding a worn scrubbing brush. Constance, she wants my diamond earrings. She said they weren't biodegradable. Madame Cholet, they are tacky, and they must be sorted. Super Ted, swooping low, stop. Madame Cholet, excessive force is not the Womble way. Madame Cholet, that woman tried to kidnap me, and she brought cheese. Constance crashes directly into Toad, sending them both splashing into a large, muddy puddle. Toad, Constance, you look like a poorly maintained lily pad. Constance, and you look like a toad, which you are. From the bushes emerges Spuds and Joe, smelling truly horrendous, followed by Sfrand Kaz who looks curiously proud of his coating. Spuds Mackenzie, don't look at me. Don't look at me. I'm a street rogue, not a sanitation expert. Joe Camel, voice muffled, still trying to clean his glasses. We need bleach. So much bleach. Sam Payton, clapping a hand over his nose. Dear Lord in Pontypandy, what in the name of the great Welsh dragon is that smell? Pat Clifton, covering Jess's face. It's manure, Sam, but concentrated. Dick Spanner PI, arriving, running a diagnostic scan. Scan complete. Readings indicate overwhelming levels of localized biological waste, approximately 87% canine in origin. Human subjects Spuds and Joe Mackenzie require immediate decontamination. Spuds Mackenzie, wailing, this is worse than the time I tried to sleep under a pier. Great Uncle Bulgaria, appearing on the mound, holding a megaphone fashioned from a metal funnel. Listen up, surface dwellers. Your intrusion, your ill-conceived corporate restructuring, and your attempts at cannibalism are offensive to the Womble Code. Kindly take your litter, including the one covered in dog waste, and leave the common immediately. We have 3 decades of discarded plastic to sort. Toad, spluttering, covered in mud. Fine. I rescind my offer. Womble Corp is dissolved. You clearly lack the drive for enterprise. Orinoco, waving cheerily. We are happy with our drive. We drive to clean. By now, the Wombles retreat back into the burrow, sealing the entrance behind them. The entire group is back on Godfrey's cart, heading back. Godfrey is still miserable, but now the air is thick with the pervasive smell of wet mud, failure, and high-grade canine excrement. Godfrey, oh, the smell. I've known farmers markets that smelled fresher than this entire cart. I'm gonna need 4 steam cleans and a nose plug after this. Spuds Mackenzie, sitting hunched, completely disgusted with himself. His coat ruined. I can still smell it. It's in my lungs. I'm never eating meat again. I'm going vegan. Joe Camel, trying to smoke, but struggling to light up through the smell. You won't last an hour, Spuds. And frankly, this Womble hunt was a disaster. Worst meal I never tried to cook. Constance, wrapped in a slightly singed mat, shivering. I just wanted a cute pet. Something fluffy and environmental. I suppose I'll have to settle for a small, imported marmoset. They don't womble, but at least they match Chartreuse. Toad, pondering, entirely unrepentant. Womble Corp failed. Yes, but their organizational skills were impressive. I'll grant them that. Maybe I should invest in localized defense systems that fire tennis balls. Now that is innovation. Dawdle, Toad. The lesson here is, leave the indigenous population alone. Toad, nonsense. Dawdle. The lesson is, always bring a better contract. Corky, I need to clean myself. I feel sticky. Sfrandkaz, patting Corky's shoulder, leaving a brown smear. Sticky is good. Sticky is primal. You have been initiated into the fellowship of the fox and the foul fertilizer. Corky, cringing. Oh. Bill Clutterbuck, to Sam and Pat. Well, lads, we survived. Nobody was permanently injured, and the Wombles have won the day. Pat Clifton, just gotta get this lot back to Rye and hosed down. It's always an adventure. Super Ted, flying alongside, occasionally fanning the air to dissipate the stench. For a moment there, I thought I might need to use my super strength to lift 100 weight of sludge. Thankfully, Great Uncle Bulgaria handled it. Trip, to the camera, grinning despite the chaos. Massive fail, guys, but epic content. This is going to break the internet. Stay tuned for my next venture, which will hopefully be less smelly. Peace out. Dick Spanner PI. To his communicator. Situation stabilized. Environmental threat neutralized by smaller, fluffier environmentalists. Rye remains bafflingly absurd. Over and out. The group has returned. Spuds and Joe are standing under a makeshift high-pressure hose, being dutifully sprayed down by Sam Payton, who is wearing a full hazmat suit. Constance is trying to dry her hair near the fireplace. Toad is ordering a new, more aggressive contract printer. Daniel Nate is behind the bar, nursing a large mug of tea, watching the madness. Daniel Nate, to himself. I miss traffic jams. I miss noise pollution. I miss having a conversation that wasn't derailed by a talking animal or a sentient object. Carmel Bunny, approaching the bar, calmly ignoring the high-pressure cleaning. Bad day, Dan. Daniel Nate. Bad day is an understatement. Carmel. I just witnessed a man who is legally a talking dog, and a talking camel, get covered head to toe in industrial quantities of dog excrement, all because they thought they could eat a fictional children's character. And I know, logically, that none of this should surprise me anymore, but it does. Every single time. Carmel Bunny, sipping her non-alcoholic beverage. That's right for you, duck. Always something unexpected under the surface. At least you know where you stand, in the path of absolute chaos. Daniel Nate, I just want to go home. I need to see my wife. I need to hold my daughter. I need my life to make sense again. I'm stuck here, polishing glasses for people who shouldn't exist, serving drinks in a reality that feels like a fever dream written by an over-caffeinated toddler. Carmel Bunny, gently, I know, Dan, but until you find that door, you've got us. And trust me, we're never boring. Spuds Mackenzie, yelling from the hose. Hey, Dan, make that tea strong. I'm going to need to sterilize my insides after this. Joe Camel, and save us some of them little salted peanuts. If I can't eat a Womble, I at least deserve some peanuts. Daniel Nate, he sighs, then forces a smile. Peanuts it is, lads. On the house Daniel reaches under the counter, pulling out a large bag of crisps. He looks out across the room, at Toad sketching new blueprints on a napkin, at Super Ted politely retrieving a clean towel for Constance, and at Spuds, who is still shrieking about his ruined high tops. Daniel Nate, final thought. Quiet, weary, just another Tuesday in the Twilight Zone.